If you are over 60 and you believe that walking is the best exercise you can do for your body, I want you to stop for just a moment and truly hear what I'm about to share with you. Because what you are about to learn may completely change the way you think about your strength, your energy, your balance, and even how many independent years you have ahead of you. For years, we were told that walking is the safest, smartest, and most effective way to stay active as we age. And while walking is still genuinely good for you, newer research and real-world clinical observation now consistently point to one simple exercise that may be even more powerful for people over 60. And the vast majority of seniors are not doing it at all. This one movement may help rebuild muscle that age has quietly taken away, support your joints rather than strain them, improve your balance and coordination, strengthen your cardiovascular system, sharpen your brain, and meaningfully reduce your risk of falls and loss of independence. And here is what makes it remarkable. You do not need a gym. You do not need equipment. You do not need to be fit to begin. You need a sturdy chair, a few minutes each day, and the right guidance. Today I am going to give you exactly that. Now, I am also going to tell you about a woman named Dorothy, 74 years old, retired nurse. Came to us after 2 falls in 1 year and a growing fear that her independence was slipping away faster than she could hold on to it. Her story is one I want you to hear before we get into the science, because it makes everything that follows real in a way that numbers alone never can. Stay with me until the end because I am also going to show you the one mistake that causes most seniors to sabotage this exercise without realizing it, and exactly how to avoid it. Let me ask you something honestly. Do you ever feel that no matter how consistently you walk, your legs still feel weaker than they used to? Your balance still feels less steady? Your stamina still disappoints you even after months of daily steps? You are not alone, and the reason is not a failure of effort. The reason is rooted in biology. Walking is a forward motion activity. It works the same limited group of muscles in the same repetitive pattern every single time. And while it supports cardiovascular health and mental well-being genuinely, it does very little to address one of the most serious and underappreciated changes happening inside the body after 60. That change is called sarcopenia, the gradual progressive loss of muscle mass and strength that accelerates significantly after 60 if the body is not actively and specifically challenged. Here is something most people are never told clearly enough. Muscle is not simply about appearance or athletic performance. Muscle is life. Muscle protects your joints from the impact of daily movement. Muscle keeps your blood sugar more stable by absorbing glucose from your bloodstream. Muscle supports your bones and reduces fracture risk. Muscle allows you to move, to react quickly, to recover from a stumble, and to live independently on your own terms. Lose enough of it, and every part of daily life becomes harder, not because you are old, but because the engine that powers movement has been quietly shrinking. Here is a finding that I want you to sit with. The single strongest predictor of whether an adult will live independently into their 70s, 80s, and beyond is not body weight. It is not cholesterol. It is not even daily step count. It is how strong the legs are, how stable the balance is, and how efficiently a person can move from sitting to standing. That movement, sit to stand, is considered by researchers to be one of the most reliable indicators of functional biological age available without a laboratory test. And that brings us to the one exercise that research and clinical experience consistently point to as more beneficial than walking alone for adults over 60. Retention. Hook 236. Stay with me, because in just a moment I am going to show you exactly how to do this safely, even if your knees hurt or your back has been a problem for years. And I am going to tell you about Dorothy and what happened to her within just 6 weeks of doing this one movement. That exercise is the chair squat. And before you move past that, without giving it the attention it deserves, I want you to understand what this movement actually is and what it does inside your body when performed consistently and correctly. Standing up from a chair and lowering yourself back down with control is not a simple or trivial movement. It is one of the most demanding functional exercises available to the human body. Every time you rise from a seated position, you are lifting nearly your entire body weight against gravity using the largest and most metabolically important muscle groups you have. Your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, your hip flexors, your core stabilizers, and your lower back. These are precisely the muscles that determine whether you can climb stairs, carry groceries, get out of bed without assistance, recover from a stumble, or remain living independently in your own home. Walking, by contrast, supports only a fraction of your body weight because one foot remains in contact with the ground throughout the movement. This is why someone can walk 5,000 steps every day and still struggle to rise from a low chair without pushing off with both hands. It is not laziness. It is not lack of effort. It is a reflection of the specific demands walking places on the body, and the specific demands it simply does not. Physical therapists around the world use the chair squat as a foundational movement in rehabilitation programs, fall prevention protocols, and long-term mobility training. Not because it is easy, but because it trains the exact movement patterns daily life demands most. And unlike walking, which the body adapts to relatively quickly, the chair squat can be progressively adjusted to continue challenging your body as your strength improves. Retention. Hook 5 o'clock. And mark. Before I show you exactly how to do this, I want to tell you something that researchers discovered about this movement that genuinely surprised me the first time I read it. It has nothing to do with your legs. Stay with me. Here is how to perform it safely. Find a sturdy chair with a firm seat. Sit on the front edge with your feet flat on the floor, approximately shoulder width apart. Your chest stays tall, your shoulders stay relaxed, and your eyes look forward rather than down at the floor. Gently lean forward very slightly from your hips, not your waist, and press through your heels as you slowly rise to standing. Do not rush the upward movement. At the top, stand fully tall without locking your knees. Then slowly and with complete control, bend at your hips and knees and lower yourself back toward the chair until you make gentle contact with the seat. That is 1 repetition. If you need support in the beginning, rest your hands lightly on the armrests as you begin the upward movement. As your confidence and strength grow over the following weeks, you can progress to crossing your arms over your chest, which removes that support and meaningfully increases the demand on your leg muscles. One important detail about breathing that most people overlook entirely. As you press upward to stand, breathe out gently through your mouth. As you lower yourself with control back toward the chair, breathe in through your nose. This breathing rhythm helps stabilize your core, supports your spine throughout the movement, and helps keep your blood pressure more balanced during the effort. Now, let me tell you about Dorothy. 74 years old, retired nurse from Ohio. She had spent her entire career looking after other people and had quietly neglected her own body for years. When she came to us, she was walking every single day, 30 to 40 minutes without fail, and she could not understand why her legs still felt unreliable, why she still grabbed the handrail every time she climbed stairs, why she still lowered herself into chairs slowly and carefully, with both hands bracing against the armrests. 2 falls in 12 months had shaken her confidence deeply. Her daughter had started calling every evening to check she was all right. Dorothy told us she felt like she was becoming a burden, and that fear was the thing that hurt most. We did not change her walking routine. We simply added one thing: 5 chair squats before her morning coffee. That was the entire starting point. 5 repetitions. Sitting down and standing up from her kitchen chair with intention and control before the kettle had finished boiling. By the end of the first week, she was doing 8. By the end of week 3, she had progressed to 12 repetitions and had removed her hands from the armrests entirely. At the 6-week mark, Dorothy called to tell us something that she said she would not have believed if someone had predicted it at the beginning. She had climbed the stairs at her local library 12 steps, without touching the handrail once. She had not done that in over 2 years. Her balance had not been fixed by a program or a therapist or a piece of equipment. It had been rebuilt by the most fundamental movement the human body performs, rising from and lowering to a seated position, done consistently, carefully, and with intention every single morning. Dorothy is not exceptional. She is representative of what the aging body is still capable of when it is given the right signal clearly enough and consistently enough. Retention. Hook. 8:30. Mark. Coming up, I am going to explain what myokines are and why this one movement does something for your brain and your heart that your daily walk simply cannot replicate. This part genuinely surprised most people when they first hear it. Now let me explain what is happening inside your body when you do this consistently, because the benefits extend considerably further than stronger legs. When you challenge your muscles through resistance-based movement, like the chair squat, your body releases a family of signaling proteins called myokines. These compounds travel through the bloodstream and produce effects throughout the entire body. Research suggests myokines help reduce chronic low-grade inflammation, the same underlying process associated with insulin resistance, cardiovascular disease, and cognitive decline in older adults. They support brain health by promoting the growth of new neural connections. They improve how efficiently cells respond to insulin. And they appear to offer some protective effects against certain chronic conditions associated with aging. Walking produces some myokine release, but resistance-based movements that challenge large muscle groups under load produce a significantly stronger myokine response. This means that every time you perform a set of chair squats, you are not simply training your legs. You are sending a chemical signal throughout your entire body that simultaneously supports your heart, your brain, your metabolic health, and your immune function. Your cardiovascular system also benefits directly. As you stand and sit repeatedly, your heart rate rises, your circulation increases, and your oxygen delivery improves throughout the body. Over weeks and months of consistent practice, many people notice better overall endurance, more energy throughout the day, and improved stamina during activities like walking itself. Retention. Hook, 11 o'clock. Mark. Stay with me, because I am about to share the two simple progressions that take this exercise from good to genuinely powerful. And then I am going to tell you about the one mistake that causes most seniors to waste weeks of effort without realizing it. Let us talk about balance, because falls represent one of the most serious threats to independence after 60. A single significant fall can require surgery, extended rehabilitation, and in some cases permanently changes what a person is able to do independently. Fear of falling is itself a significant problem because it causes many older adults to move less, and less movement leads to greater weakness, which increases the actual risk of falling. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself. Chair squats interrupt that cycle in the safest possible environment. Every repetition trains your nervous system to control your body weight through the precise movement pattern that determines whether you can recover from a loss of balance in real life. Your coordination improves, your reaction speed improves, your confidence in your own body improves. And with greater confidence comes greater willingness to move, which further reduces risk over time. This is what happened with Dorothy. The exercise did not just strengthen her legs, it rebuilt the conversation between her nervous system and her muscles, the communication pathway that tells the body where it is in space and how to stabilize itself when balance is challenged. That pathway weakens with inactivity and rebuilds with consistent practice, at any age. Now let me speak directly to those who are thinking that their specific situation may prevent them from starting. Perhaps the knees are sensitive. Perhaps the lower back has been a problem. Perhaps inactivity has been the pattern for a long time. These concerns are completely valid. They do not disqualify anyone. They simply mean beginning at the level the body is at right now. If the knees are sensitive, do not lower to a full sight. Lower only as far as feels comfortable, even if that means barely bending the knees at first. Any consistent range of motion is more valuable than a perfect range of motion attempted once. If the lower back is stiff, keep the chest tall and the movement very slow. If inactivity has been the pattern, begin with 3 repetitions. 3. That is a meaningful and valid starting point. The power in this exercise is never in the number done at once. The power is in doing it consistently over time. Consistency is what changes the body. Not intensity, not perfection, not dramatic effort. 5 minutes done almost every day will always produce better results than one difficult session done occasionally. Retention hook. 13:30 mark. Right after this, the one mistake that causes most seniors to get no benefit from this exercise at all. Most people make it on day 1 without realizing. Make sure you are not one of them. How often should you do this and how many repetitions? Begin with whatever number can be performed with good form and without joint pain. The goal in the early weeks is not a number. The goal is establishing the movement pattern and the daily habit. Perform it once daily, or at minimum 3 to 4 times per week. As strength improves over the following weeks, there are 2 simple progressions that require no equipment whatsoever. The first is to slow the lowering phase. Instead of sitting down at a normal pace, lower yourself over 3 full seconds. 1, 2, 3, then rise back up. This slow, eccentric phase is where much of the muscle-building stimulus comes from, and it remains very gentle on the joints. The second progression is to add a brief pause, just 1 second, just above the chair surface before making contact. That small pause removes the momentum the body naturally uses and forces the muscles to control full body weight without assistance. These 2 adjustments alone can continue challenging the body for months before anything more demanding is needed. Now, the one mistake most seniors make with this exercise: they do it too fast. They treat it like a functional task, like actually sitting down in a chair, rather than like an exercise. They drop into the seat quickly and bounce back up, using momentum rather than muscle. When you do this, the muscles are barely involved. The joints absorb most of the impact. And weeks of daily practice produce almost no strength gain because the muscles were never actually doing the work. The entire value of this movement lives in the slowness of the lowering phase and the control of the rising phase. Slow down. 3 seconds down. Pause. Rise. That is the movement that changes the body. Fast repetitions done carelessly are exercise in appearance only. Dorothy almost made this mistake in week 1. She was sitting down quickly and standing up quickly and wondering why her legs did not feel challenged. The moment she slowed the lowering phase to 3 seconds, she felt her quadriceps working for the first time. And she said it felt completely different from anything she had done before. Within 2 weeks of that correction, her progress accelerated noticeably. Retention. Hook, 15:30, mark, almost finished, and I want to leave you with the single most important thing to remember about this exercise. Not the technique, not the repetitions, something more fundamental than either of those. There is also an emotional dimension to this exercise that deserves honest acknowledgement. As the years pass, many older adults notice quietly and gradually that their world becomes smaller. Certain activities that once felt easy begin to feel uncertain. Certain places begin to feel too far or too risky. And without realizing it, life contracts around what feels safe. Physical strength reverses this contraction. When the body begins to feel more capable, when rising from a chair feels easier, when stairs feel less effortful, when reaching for the wall becomes unnecessary, the mind opens alongside the body. Willingness to go out, to say yes, to engage with people and places and experiences grows alongside physical capacity. Physical strength and emotional freedom are more deeply connected than most people realize. Building one tends to build the other. Dorothy told us at her 12-week check-in that she had booked a trip to visit her grandchildren 3 states away, something she had quietly stopped considering possible after her second fall. She said she did not know exactly when she had stopped believing she could manage it, but she knew when she had started believing again. It was the morning she climbed those 12 library steps without the handrail. Let us also talk about how to fit this into a life that is already full. The most effective approach is to attach this habit to something already done every day without thinking. Before the morning coffee while the kettle heats, during a commercial break in the evening, before sitting down for lunch. When a new habit is connected to an existing one, the effort required to remember it disappears almost entirely. And when a habit requires no memory or motivation to begin, it becomes permanent far more reliably than any scheduled exercise program. Walking remains genuinely valuable, and this is not an argument against it. Walking supports cardiovascular health, mental clarity, mood regulation, and gentle circulation throughout the day. The most effective approach to healthy aging combines both. Walking as nourishment for the heart and mind. Chair squats as nourishment for the muscles, bones, balance, and independence. Together, they address the full picture of what the aging body needs. Separately, each leaves a significant gap. The single most important thing I want you to take from this video is not the technique. It is not the number of repetitions. It is this. Your body at 60, 70, and even 80 still responds to the signal that strength is required. It may respond more slowly than it once did, but it responds. Research consistently shows that older adults who begin resistance-based movement, even for the first time late in life, show measurable gains in strength, balance, and functional capacity within weeks of starting. You are not broken. You are not fragile. You are not too old. You are simply a body that has not yet been given the right signal clearly enough and consistently enough. This movement is that signal. Your next step does not need to be large. It can be as small as standing up from your chair 5 times today with intention and care. That is a real beginning. Progress does not come from dramatic gestures. It comes from quiet decisions made consistently, day after day, until they are simply part of who you are. Before we finish, leave a comment telling your age and whether walking has been your main form of activity, or whether you already include some form of strength training in your routine. Every response helps guide what gets covered on this channel next. And if this video has given you something useful, share it with someone over 60 in your life who needs to hear that their body is still capable of more than they believe. Everything covered today addresses strength, balance, and independence through one fundamental daily movement. But many people over 60 face a separate challenge that no amount of exercise fully resolves on its own. And that is what happens to energy, motivation, and cognitive sharpness when the body is not getting what it needs nutritionally. The next video covers the specific foods that research suggests support muscle maintenance, brain function, and energy levels in adults over 60 years. And several of them may genuinely surprise you. I will put it right here on the screen. Go watch that one next. Dr. William, this video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before beginning any new exercise routine, particularly if you have existing joint conditions, cardiovascular concerns, recent surgery, or other medical considerations. Never push through sharp or sudden pain during exercise. Individual results and experiences vary significantly.